She started dreaming about blood long before anyone died. The first dream came on a Tuesday night, the kind of night where the air felt heavier than it should, thick with silence. Outside her window, a street lamp flickered as though struggling to stay alive. In the dream, Lydia Morris stood barefoot on a cold floor. She heard footsteps behind her, slow, deliberate, echoing against glass, and then the sound of something breaking. Not loud, not sharp, more like the sound of a life snapping in half. When she woke, her throat was raw, her hands trembling as if she'd been holding something tight. She told herself it was nothing, just anxiety, maybe something she'd eaten. She'd been working double shifts at the hospital. It made sense, didn't it? The next morning, her neighbor was found dead. Police said it was a burglary gone wrong. Lydia said she'd seen it, the whole thing. They said she was traumatized, not psychic, but that night she dreamed again. This time it was a bridge, a man standing at the edge, wind screaming around him, the faint sound of classical music playing somewhere in the dark. He turned to her just before he fell. His face was pale, almost luminous. When Lydia woke, her clock read 2:17 a.m. She sat up, heart pounding, and wrote every detail down in her dream journal. Red tie, wet hands. The bridge smells like iron. 2 days later, a businessman jumped from the same bridge. He wore a red tie. The police ruled it suicide. Lydia knew better. She tried to warn people. The police, the papers, even her pastor. Each time they dismissed her, but the dreams became more vivid, more specific. Sometimes she'd wake up smelling smoke. Sometimes she'd feel a hand on her shoulder, warm, firm, gone in an instant. By the fourth death, Detective Alan Reeves was the only one still taking her calls. Reeves wasn't a believer. He was a practical man, worn by 20 years of chasing monsters who looked ordinary by day. But Lydia's dreams contained things no one outside the investigations could possibly know. The shade of lipstick found on a glass, the way one victim's body had been posed, the exact song that played on the radio in the background of a recorded 911 call. Details never released to the public. He wanted to dismiss her, too. But then she described his apartment. The dirty mug on his desk, the picture of his ex-wife turned face down, the sound of a clock ticking beside his bed. Reeves hadn't told anyone about the clock. It belonged to his father, who died 20 years ago. He started documenting her dreams like witness statements. They met every Thursday in an interview room under flickering fluorescent light. Lydia looked worse each time, eyes sunken, hands trembling. She'd say, "I can feel them before they die, like they're pulling me closer." The crimes escalated. A stabbing at a park, a disappearance on a train, a woman found in the woods with her eyes open to the stars. Lydia's dreams came one night before each incident, as if time itself were giving her previews of its cruelty. Reeves began to wonder, if she wasn't the killer, how did she know so much? If she was, why was she predicting her own guilt? Then came the night that changed everything. Lydia called him at 3:04 a.m. Her voice was trembling, barely human. "He's here," she whispered. "He's standing at the end of my bed. He's wearing your shoes." Reeves grabbed his keys and drove like a man possessed. When he arrived, the hallway lights in her apartment building were flickering. The door was locked from the inside. He broke it down. Lydia lay on the floor, her eyes wide, her hands clutching her chest as if she tried to hold her heart in. The journal was beside her. The final entry read, "He's here now. He's wearing your shoes." Reeves looked down. Mud on his soles. Wet dark, fresh, from a place he hadn't been. The case was ruled a heart attack. But Reeves couldn't shake the feeling that something was still in that apartment, watching him leave. He kept Lydia's journal, carried it everywhere like a curse. He told himself it was evidence. Truthfully, he just couldn't let it go. Then the dreams began. At first, small things. The sound of glass breaking in his sleep. The red tie. The bridge. Then Lydia's voice, calling his name, begging him not to look. One morning, he opened the journal to find a new page, written in Lydia's handwriting. "Stop trying to change the ending. Reeves began to unravel. He saw her in reflections, in crowds, on dark roads that led nowhere. The killer was never found. Each anniversary of Lydia's death, another body appeared, each one connected to the case, each one mirroring her dreams. The last page of the journal now reads something new. The next dream isn't mine. It's yours. Reeves doesn't sleep anymore, he says when he closes his eyes. He hears her whisper just before dawn. It's happening again. Maybe Lydia wasn't predicting death. Maybe she was reliving it over and over, trapped in some twisted loop between guilt, grief, and time. Maybe every dream was another version of reality trying to warn him. And maybe this one right now is yours. Because sometimes the future doesn't knock. It bleeds its way in. Would you believe someone who dreamed your death?